Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. I hope everyone's been having a good week. I've been having a great week. I've been getting to it. Been busy this week. I've been writing up a fucking storm. We got pre-production going on for Field All Around. That's been pretty much the most important thing going on right now in my life, is just really bringing this movie together. In between that, I've been doing the podcast and, trying to enjoy myself as much as possible. It's kind of a 24/7 job, filmmaking. Like, you might have a day where you're just hanging out, but you're really not just hanging out, because this goal of making the next movie is always looming on your mind. And also as a creative, you're always thinking of the next idea and where could this go and what could it be? And it's certainly a full-time job, not to be taken lightly. But that being said, I've been writing, I had an idea for a concept, and I've kind of had this idea for a while. It's kind of about what I'm talking about right now. I don't want to spoil it, but kind of a director who's just hanging out at his house, writer-director, and is thinking about his next project, kind of in not a dry spell for writing, but he doesn't have the inspiration at the moment to really, just face the blank page, and he gets it, through a new romance. So that's something I've been cooking up. I started writing maybe, 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm already at 60 pages. So it's weird with writing. Sometimes the right idea just spills out. You just blow right through those pages, and it's just, it's funny when you think about not writing something or going to write something, you think like, oh no, it's going to be so tough to get there and start hitting the keys and actually, making this thing come to life. And that's a scary thing. Like, as a writer, you sit there, you're like, well, fuck, could I do it again? Could I actually sit back down and get what I need out? And for me, that's the hardest moment, because once I start writing, I literally hate walking away from my fucking computer. It makes me almost upset. I'm like, fuck, like I kind of want to get back to what I was doing. Because right when you stop writing, that's when you get the next idea, and you're like, oh shit, like that's the next thing. When you write it in your notes on your iPhone, or you kind of scurry about to preserve the idea, because every idea when you're writing, it feels like really important. And even if it's not, it's important to document it or like write it down. And let's just say this, I couldn't imagine being a fucking screenwriter back in like the 50s and not having an iPhone, or like even fucking 90s, not having some digital device to just like jot it down. You'd have to carry a pen and paper, like one of those little recorders where people like would literally like tape and be like, idea, like da da da. Like, I used to think that shit was kind of cheesy, but now I completely understand. I did a lot of voice memos back in the day, and I don't do them as much now because you just don't have to. I feel like, it's easier to just type it out or whatever. I can actually go and generate it, I guess, at this point. But yeah, that's, I know there's something about screenwriting. It's really fun once you're in the zone and you start really finding the characters. And after the first like 5 to 10 pages, it's going to be good or bad, or if you're going to keep going usually. And well, I mean, that's not fair to say, because I had a script I wrote, Christmas Lights, which I wrote last winter, and I almost gave up on this script. I was probably like 40 or 50 pages in, and I was like, I'm fucking just lost in the sauce. Like, I don't know where this is going. And then I took a little time to process it, and then I figured it out. And once I got my footing, it's one of the scripts I'm most proud of. So yeah, it's just it's its own animal, screenwriting. You kind of just go with the ebbs and flows, and when it flows, it flows. Just hit the ground running. Don't let up. But yeah, that's been taking up quite a bit of my week. Yeah, I've really enjoyed writing and just getting back to it. It's always super rewarding when you have that stack of pages at the end of the day to just go through, and I don't know, it's fun. I really love it. Anyways, aside from writing this new script, I've been working on pre-production for Field All Around. Been doing a lot of camera testing. One big problem I ran into, and maybe other filmmakers can agree with this, is when you shoot with high-end cameras like Arri or Red or the Sony Venice, you get a very large file size, especially with Red RAW in particular, because that's what I've been shooting on. I've been using the Red Komodo for the last shoot, and on Peninsula Nights I used it. I'm going to be using it again for Field All Around. And the Red RAW is just a very, it's a clunky format. I don't hate it, but I've been just trying to find a way to have better file management, because we spent a couple grand like just in fucking storage on the last movie, and now I've figured out a new way to like kind of reduce that. Stevie and I have been doing a lot of testing, trying to figure out like the best file management. And I know it's a little boring, it's more inside baseball talk, but like when you get to the editing lab, there's nothing worse than trying to open up a fucking file or a session, just having it lag and not work. It's complete nonsense when you're trying to do something that requires ease, the path of least resistance, one may say, or like the best functionality. And that's what we've been doing, because it's just, you learn. That's an experience thing. You learn through experience. Like, I've edited tons of projects. Editing a feature film, it's a different ball game, because you have so much footage in that fucking session, so many takes. They're all gigabytes on gigabytes, especially with the Red Raw. We're talking like 40 fucking gigs of file. It was just nonsense. So that's something we both agreed on when we go back to edit. We're like, hey, we got to make sure that we approach this with the right, system in place, so we don't have to waste our time or slow down or impede the editing process. Because editing, you want it to just be fluid. You want to be in the moment, be like, hey, like, I think we should try this. You don't want the computer to just do the rainbow wheel on your Mac for 10 minutes and be like, God, I hope this thing fucking doesn't crash. So that being said, we had a big breakthrough on that this week. That was really good, and I think we kind of have that settled up. I've been exploring some new editing softwares as well. I was never opposed to using it, but like it wasn't on the top of my list. DaVinci Resolve, I'd explored the free version for color and stuff, and it was very cool. But I primarily edited in Adobe Premiere for years. Even when I went to film school, they wanted us to use Avid Media Composer, and I learned it, and I just thought it's just not the software I prefer to use. I had better results in in Premiere Pro. And then eventually, when it came to editing Peninsula Nights, Stevie and I went through Premiere, and we were having a lot of crashing, a lot of the issues with the Red Raw that drove us to use Final Cut. We actually talked to the people at Red, and they're like, hey, I just do everything in Final Cut Pro. And we were like, okay, let's try it. And we were very happy with Final Cut Pro. Magnetic timeline's a little touchy, but aside from that, it's a pretty fucking great program. Apple makes a good product, from their computer hardware to their software. I mean, Logic, I'm recording on Logic right now. It's one of the finest audio DAWs out there. But yeah, we went from Premiere to Final Cut Pro. And then recently I decided it was time to just, kind of buy fucking DaVinci and try it out. And honestly, I've been very impressed. So I've owned Blackmagic cameras in the past. I've used DaVinci for their color primarily in the past, and I've seen so many tutorials, but I said, screw it. I want to just learn a new program, and it's been really fun using DaVinci, just learning how to, it's like anytime you get a new software, it's like getting a new guitar. You're going to play something different. You're going to play a little different, whatever you're doing. And that's kind of how I feel about DaVinci Resolve. So I've been pretty stoked on using that. I think it's really cool, and I think Feel It All Around might end up getting cut in the whole shebang in fucking DaVinci. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Another thing we've been doing with testing is, I've been doing lensing. I think I've pretty much settled on the focal length and style of the look of Feel It All Around, which is great. Problem we kind of run into is I've been doing a lot of testing with Steven just out in the yard, and daytime photography. We shot Peninsula Nights at night, and that wasn't like a completely unconscious decision. It was there's pros and cons of shooting day or night. Shooting at night, you don't have to worry about diffusing light as much. Certainly easier to expose unless you're in a completely dark environment. But there was a battle with that. In daylight, though, you really gotta, the sun is just so bright, you have to fight it. So there's a few things you can do. You can stop your lens down, to a very high f-stop, or you can get some ND filters. So that is something we really went in that direction. I'd had the Tilta Mirage system in the past, and it was good, but it didn't fit my current lens, the actual millimeter length. So we ended up going with this, I think it's Nisi 5-9, great product. We also got their, I think it's 0 to 5 or 1 to 5 variable ND filter, and it's extremely good. Really, really happy with the product. Nisi or Nisi, whatever they are. You guys are awesome. Love your shit. We're going to be using it on Feel It All Around for pretty much all daytime photography, because I shoot with a very minimal kit as a solo shooter, and I think it's important to find the right gear that works for a shoot. Particularly when you're shooting as a solo shooter, you can't have a huge camera rig with a matte box. I'm pulling focus. I'm doing everything. So to have one less problem on set, exposure with the camera, and just knowing that I'm going to be able to go there and do it with ease of use. That's just really important to me. And I know it's important to the crew because nobody wants to waste time on set just with camera and technical problems. And also, like, the easier it is for me, the easier it is for the actors, because then I can just do my job, make sure that as a director and cinematographer, I'm capturing the moment, creating the moment, they're creating the moment with me, and it's all fluid, all just easy, path of least resistance. You just got to make sure when you're doing this stuff that you not only spend money where it matters, but make choices that reduce the amount of waste on set. And like, it's really like time is the most valuable asset in the end. So if you can avoid wasting fucking time, that's the best thing possible. It helps everyone. And also, you got to save your actors' performances. You don't want to beat them down. Like, it's the bane of the, making a film, but it's not as glamorous as everyone thinks. A lot of it is just repetition, doing the basic shit over and over, and not even basic. Performance is more than basic, but like even cinematography is, a lot of it's just like, hey, I'm going to hold this frame for the next hour and a half, and we're going to get everything we need, and maybe do some coverage, etc. But yeah, so I think like we're in good shape as far as camera testing goes. I'm actually going to be going out to camera test today. So right after this, I'm going to go out and shoot a little bit more footage and just really get the workflow down. It's important before you go to shoot, like, practice your workflow, get your project file set up, make sure that you know how you're going to get this thing made A to B in the end, because it'll save you a lot of time. You don't want to get all your footage and go into the program and be like, what the fuck are we doing? Make sure you know what file format you're going to work with in post. Make sure you know how you're going to color it in post. Test. It is so important. Test the lens. You don't want to go out and shoot and be like, oh, fuck, this lens looks like shit. Or, hey, that lens was dirty. Also, clean your gear. I can't tell you how many times I watch a movie and there's like dust on the lens or et cetera, et cetera. And maybe I'll make a fucking tutorial on how to clean your lens, because that was something I used to be like, you can't clean your lens. No, you can clean your lens. I clean my lenses before every shoot. I make sure I have my little Rocket Air fucking lens cleaner. Clean your glass every time before you go to shoot a scene. It's such a small thing that makes a big difference. I mean, I'm sure in Peninsula Nights there's some dust on the lens in some shots or something here and there, but for the most part, I was very diligent about keeping it clean, and I'm a little bit of a neat freak. But yeah, that definitely, it preserves the image. Let's just say that. But anyways, been writing a lot this week, been working on pre-production for Field All Around, camera testing. I've also been talking with some people about executive producer credits. So if you're interested in that, just DM me or email me. Still taking on some other EP credits right now. So yeah, I wanted to talk about something I noticed happening with TV right now, and especially new releases. I feel like with this new season of White Lotus, and if you've been listening to Unscripted, I talk a lot about White Lotus. I love the fucking show. I think Mike White's a genius. I love that he's a writer, director. He's got a firm vision, and he's carried it throughout all 3 seasons so far. But one thing in particular I want to talk about is that TV right now is doing something so smart. They're going back to releasing 1 episode a week. Limited release. And it's not just them. HBO's doing this with White Lotus. They're doing it with Righteous Gemstones. I know Suits L.A. is premiering on Peacock every week. I was watching it. I got to catch up on it. It's not my priority show, but it is so much more fun to see the show come out once a week. You know why? White Lotus comes out on Sunday. Righteous Gemstones comes out on Sunday. You get the whole week to go and speculate and talk with your friends. What do you think is going to happen on White Lotus? Who do you think is going to die? Or what do you think is going to happen when they go to Bangkok, et cetera, et cetera? I think that's what's kind of like a part of the cultural phenomenon or like group viewership that was missing, is like, if you can binge something, you can literally just sit there for fucking 8 hours straight and watch a whole show alone. No communal experience, no reason to talk to anyone else. And you can just burn through the next one. And look, there's plenty of shows that are on streaming that like they've been out forever, like Sopranos. Like, if you're going to go binge watch Sopranos, I get it. It's already out. And, there's a community of people that want to talk about it still. But White Lotus season 3 in particular, it seems like that cultural phenomenon of like, hey, it's building up to a finale, which is tonight, 90 minutes. Super fucking excited. I can't wait to see it all go down. I think this has been, it's hard to say that there's a better season than season 2 of White Lotus, but fuck. I think season 3 is really good. And people are torn. I've seen some people disagreeing with this completely. I love everything about it. I love the tight lensing on the cinematography. I love the location. I've learned a lot about Thai culture. Thai music. I didn't realize how much it had influenced stuff I had heard in, the music world. I actually was listening to fucking some of the music in the show, and I'm like, God, this sounds just like Revolution. A lot of people say this Eric Rockmany guy from Revolution obviously was a fan of some of this music that was influenced from Thailand and I think Iran and all sorts of stuff. But it's super cool. The show is not only, it's almost like going on vacation. I'm learning about another place, another country, the people, the language, the food, Muay Thai. I didn't even realize it was a Thailand thing. It's just cool, and I think Mike White captures the essence of a vacation. He captures the essence of a family on vacation, friends on vacation, just all the types of people you would meet. I imagine he's a successful guy. I mean, this guy wrote School of Rock. He's had a hell of a career. He's obviously traveled. He stayed at Four Seasons all around the world, and perhaps is based off his actual experience. I'd imagine so. But yeah, he does an excellent job of not only seeing through his lens of the world, but presenting it to everyone else in a way that I think is very, very relatable. And that's what makes it so good. But anyways, this once a week release, I think going back to this, like limited release, that's Hollywood. Like they're finally getting something really right with this. Everybody is waiting to see what happens. You've got everybody fucking talking about White Lotus right now, particularly today, this weekend. Maybe it's a product of marketing. Social media has definitely been like memeing the fuck out of this season. I know Patrick Schwarzenegger, he even posts the memes of himself. He is self-aware that this thing is, not only is it a cultural phenomenon, but it is, people are, making inside jokes about it. It's gotten to that level. It kind of reminds me of like, when Step Brothers and like Talladega Nights came out, those movies were so quotable. They were like part of culture. Like people will still quote them today. If you were in that generation of kids from the 2000s, mid 2000s on, like, I can't think of a line right now, but people would fucking just quote these movies for years. And I think that's kind of like, I'm not saying White Lotus is going to be the most quotable, but I think it is. Like, a lot of people are quoting the like, Piper, no, like Parker Posey's character and this and that. It's good to have that because I think the cultural reference of a show being so popular that everyone gets it hasn't really happened in a while. Like sometimes, yes, but I don't know. I personally feel like that was something that was missing, and it's cool when there's like almost everyone's watching something at the same time. You can feel that energy on the show. It's almost like it's capturing the attention of the masses to the point where everyone's in tune or in sync with this thing, and there's like a mass excitement around it. It's like the Super Bowl, it's a big event because so many people are watching. The stakes are high, and like, I don't know, White Lotus season 3 has really brought that back. Maybe that's HBO. I mentioned Righteous Gemstones. I'm not trying to put that on the back burner, but that show as well. I think it's like it's not towards the season finale yet, but you watch a show like that and it's like, oh, okay, like I can't wait till next week to watch it. I'm able to digest multiple shows at once. I'm able to watch a little bit more than just watching, like just binge watching, 40 or whatever, 35 seasons of The Simpsons. Like I could do that. Sometimes I just get to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm a little burnout on fucking Simpsons. Like, let me get something else. I like limited release. I like once a week. And then if you want to go back and binge it after. Also, I've noticed this. When I binge watch a show, I don't go back to rewatch it. Sometimes, like I remember like, Netflix put out Clickbait. I'm like, oh, it was really good. I'll watch it again. Then some shows I watch, like I just watched Adolescence. Good show. Very conceptual, high concept, the one shot thing. It's good. But I'm not going back to watch Adolescence probably ever again. Maybe it's a one-time watch for me. Maybe I'll go back or I'll tell people like, hey, this thing was shot on the Ronin 4D and it's all one take and it's really like really well done. It's good for what it is and I respect it for what it is, but it's not like culturally impactful where I'm like, I got to go back and see this fucking story. Adolescence, dude. White Lotus, I will throw the episodes on. I'm going to probably do it today. I'm just going to throw them on in the background. I'm going to let them play. I'm going to watch through the season all the way up until this finale. And I've not found myself doing that with a lot of shows recently. Maybe Wednesday or like every time Stranger Things pops out a new season, sure, I'll rewatch so I feel like I'm caught right back up. But White Lotus in particular, a lot of replay value. And I think that's partially due to the release schedule as well. I feel like you can come back to the episodes. I catch something new. I don't already know the end where I'm like, well, that detail doesn't matter because that's not how it ends anyways. I'm speculating and there's a lot of conjecture in the speculation of what's going to happen. Who's going to die? Why is that person looking like that? Oh, Guy Talk's character is kind of seeming a little bit like a bitch. But then he realizes these Russian guys are at the Muay Thai fight. Will he redeem himself finally? Because he tells Mook like, hey, I'm not going to be a bodyguard. I'm actually this little bitch that isn't trying to get ahead in life. And she's like, oh, I thought you were more ambitious. She's not looking at him as like an alpha male or somebody who's trying to, go out and make something of themselves. He needs redemption now, right? I wouldn't have really been speculating this hard on like, oh, what would his character do to redeem himself if I hadn't been watching the episodes over and I hadn't been seeing them come out once a week, because I've gotten to know the character pretty well, more than just a one-time binge watch. And now I think, oh, will Guy Talk end up like stopping Walton Goggins' character Rick because he wants to do what the bodyguards couldn't do when he was in Bangkok and attacked Jim, the owner of the White Lotus? Or will he end up, stopping Greg from hurting Belinda? There's so many angles at play with White Lotus season 3. And once again, like, it's got me even having a discourse alone right now on the mic about this, what could happen. And yeah, it's really cool. I think, that's where TV should head. Like, really just limit the release, make people want more, leave them wanting more with a cliffhanger ending. Like, even this last episode of White Lotus, it just ended and I was like, holy fuck, the whole room. I was watching it with Stevie and Christine. It ended. We got, like, damn. And that's a great feeling. And I think if that's the direction Hollywood's taking TV, and in particularly HBO is just knocking it out of the fucking park. HBO, I love you guys. Give me a call. I'd love to get involved with you guys because you guys are making the best shit on TV right now. Respectfully to all the other streamers, I just think HBO, they know exactly what to do when it comes to making a great show. And I really respect their approach to, narrative television. I think they really understand what people want, and to have mass appeal while still making something that's artistic with integrity and kind of the whole thing. Not to say other streamers don't do that, but HBO seems to be right on the fucking money every time. So excited to see how they wrap this season up. 90 minutes. It's almost a fucking movie. It is a movie. Peninsula Nights is 90 minutes. I'm about to watch a movie tonight of White Lotus. They could have broken it up, but I think, there might be something intentful about doing a straight 90-minute episode, and I'm really excited to see it, to be honest. So anyways, yeah. So White Lotus, feel it all around, writing this new script. You know what? I have some final thoughts. I actually want to give a little shout out. Salinas Ranch Co. Western Wear. They sent me this hat. I love it. I'm going to be wearing it on the pod. I think it's pretty cool. If you guys want them, go to Salinas Ranch Co. I think it's salinasranchco.com. I'll post the link on my social media. But yeah, Salinas Ranch Co. They got cool shit. Shout out to them. Thank you guys for sending it. Really appreciate it. Anyways, I think that's about all I got, guys. It's Sunday. You already know what I'm doing. I'm watching this White Lotus fucking season finale and probably catch this Righteous Gemstones. And then, you know what? It's another week. Going to get started on feel it all around in terms of actually hitting the ground running with like just full on casting, location, everything. It's time. The movie's probably getting shot in the next week. Anyways, I'm Devin Thomas. This is another episode of Unscripted. Talk to you guys next week.